So if you're just joining us for the first time, you know that we've been doing these. When you registered for it, you submitted like questions and things that you wanted, and then I've just been going over. So this, I think, is our third week doing it, and it was so good, and we had so much fun the first time that I decided let's just do it weekly and see how we go with it and what we make of it. I'm gonna mute everybody 1 second. So for all of you guys on the Instagram, just know that I'm doing this in Zoom. I really thought it would be cool to create like a more intimate setting for this so that people can chime in, they can ask questions, and it's harder to ask questions when you're on Instagram because you just have to type it. So anyways, we're just going to make it work. So forgive me if I'm kind of like this or if I'm not looking directly at you. But what I wanted to go over today was just one of the questions, and then I'll open it up for questions that are live, whether it's through Instagram or on the Zoom. But I wanted to just start it with like a quick example / story. So today was like a whirlwind. If you saw my post that I just posted a little bit ago on my Instagram page, you would see that I like just looked a mess, which I'm sure people will be so sweet and be like, you don't look a mess. But we all know when we feel like we look a mess. So like from the outside looking in, you usually look fine. But anyways, I didn't shower today. I'm not sure if I brushed my teeth, but I think I did because I had people over all day today. But we got our office done today, so I'm so excited. I'm going to be doing a tour of our office this week, probably on tomorrow. No, maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. But anyways, so I was just crazy, and then it's like the days go by. I had to pick up I had a deadline I was working on. Then I had to go pick up the girls from school and then get them dinner and then get Stelly off to practice and then feed the baby and you know the usual mom stuff, right? And so I'm just like this crazy person. And so literally I know this call is at 5 o'clock and it's like 4:53 and I'm like still serving out their dinner and trying to get them squared away and like just figuring out how I'm going to do it. And so it made me think of a good example of how are you approaching your relationship? Because the one question that I was going to touch on today was the question of how do you handle arguments? Like, how do you work through arguments? And so I thought this was a perfect example of my crazy day. I could have easily been like, I'm not like obligated to go do this live. I don't have to show up. I could easily just email everybody and be like, I'm so sorry. My house is crazy. My kids need me right now. Like my mother-in-law is supposed to be home to help me watch the girls while I'm doing my calls, and she's not here yet. So it's just a mess. But instead, I'm committed to you guys. I made a commitment. I said I'm going to do it every Monday at 5 o'clock, and that's what I need to show up to do. So evaluate that level of commitment. And I know these are two different things, but it just made me think of a good example. How are you treating arguments in your relationship? Are you going up against them like, this is my commitment? And I'm sure you are, especially if you're married. Usually people exhaust their marriage like issues before they're just like throwing in the towel. But like think on a bigger scale. How are your arguments? Are you approaching them like, I'm committed to this person, I'm one with this person, we're going to figure this out? Or are you approaching it like, you know what, this is a mess, I feel a mess, this is just not working out, and I'm just going to throw in the towel and I'm going to break this commitment? And so I thought that was a good way to just start the great. Look, you can't do that because the door just flew into the wall. Show me when you're done. I don't want you playing with markers, please. Erilyn, Indy can't have that marker, so wherever she got it, please take it from her. Give her the color pencils. Okay, but I'm asking you. Sorry. So just think of that. And so I'm going to go back to one of the things that I talked about on the very first live that we did to just like further ingrain that foundation that I'm talking about. But one of the biggest things that I ride on when we're in the middle of an argument is what I learned when we were doing marriage counseling years ago. And it was the concept of when you're in an argument, know that it's you against the enemy, not you against your significant other. So I love that because I just, you think like the devil wants to kill, steal, and destroy relationships, especially marriages. So if you're married, you're even on the top, like, because if you're not married and you're in a relationship, usually the devil's already like dealing with you in other ways, like, you know, sex out of marriage or living out of what, like all the things that are like biblical, I guess, if you will, if that's the foundation that you're living on. So he's already like, I already got you where I want you. I'm not even worried about you. But once you're married, then now you have a covenant that he wants to just destroy. And so you have to remember that yes, it's beautiful, Indy. Thank you for showing me. Yes, good catch. Good job learning. So you have to realize that your arguments are you and that person, because you're one against the enemy, not against each other. And so that literally saves my ego so much. Before I learned that, and I wasn't married when I learned that, so I'm not saying you have to be married for that to apply. Before I learned that, it was like, oh no, I was petty Patty. I was, you know, like, oh, he's going to feel my wrath today, like, miss, da, 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 da. And I just, like, I can win. Like, I'm a good arguer. Like, my husband always says I should have been a lawyer, or I should have been something in law, like investigation, like negotiating, things like that. Like, I kind of like arguments. I love controversy. I love to battle back and forth. I love to hear contrary points of views. So when it comes to arguments, I'm like, give me your best shot, because I'm going to kill you right now. Not literally kill you, but like, I'm going to bring the heat times 100, so you're going to lose. And like, that was just my petty egoistic attitude. But once I learned that, it was like I turned that up times 100 and started directing it towards the devil. Like, oh no, devil, you can't have my marriage, you can't have my relationship, you lose, we win. And I brought that same like winning attitude towards the devil, towards the enemy. So if you can, next time you get in an argument, like literally realize that your ego has to get put aside. And it took me a long time that, like, when I hear ego, I think Beyonce, like confidence, like I got a big ego, like I think like very like surface based, like confidence, I guess. I don't think ego is very hard to detect. Ego is like ruling our life and we don't even realize it. Yes, Indy. You want to show them? Indy wants to show her beautiful artwork. They love it, Indy. I can just tell. I can just hear everybody's raving. It's beautiful. So, I know, I love it. Mommy's almost done. Let me finish, okay? So, when you really break down ego, close the door, please. Thank you. It's beautiful, Charlie. Close the door. I'm almost done. If you guys keep interrupting, then I won't be able to finish. But if you really dissect ego is what really runs us on a daily basis. So when you really learn to recognize it and recognize like what's the surface of this situation, you can pull back so many layers of an argument just off of that. So like, it's just a matter of like, so today I'm trying to think, like we have minor arguments a lot, like little things. So today our argument was who was going to take the girls to school. Come on, Bear. I'm almost done. Literally, Indy, then Charlie, now you. I'm almost done. I want to read your full book from front to back. So I don't want to do it when I'm on a call, because then I can't give you my 100%.
Yeah, but when you're done, can you read this a little bit here?
Yes, thank you. It's beautiful. I want to read it with you. Can you guys just let me finish? So this morning it was like we had the people coming to install our office, and I knew that it was going to be like 3 different groups of male like workers. So the way I woke up this morning, I had no bra on, I had on like these little booty shorts, and I didn't feel like changing because I was like, so right away. So I was like, how about I'll take the girls to school because I don't have to get out of the car, and then you can be here for the workers to get here, and that way I can worry about getting dressed and getting myself together when I get back. And he was like, I don't want to be. So in addition to the guys who were doing the work, we had 2 girls who were going to be here. So he's like, well, I don't want to be here when the 2 girls are here, because, and his reason for that was more because they were the girls who were like designing the office with me. So he was like, he's like all mad at me, not mad at me, but like I turned it into like HGTV, like Pinterest galore. And so we've been having all this fun, and he doesn't like to be all like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. So he didn't want to be here to have to be like, oh my gosh, it looks looked so good, he wanted me to be there for that. So we both didn't want to be here for that initial interaction. And you can see how like stupid things can like rile up. And it's so crazy because I had just stopped praying. I had just came down and I had just prayed and told God, like, you know what, God, I have so many things like right now happening and so many amazing things. I just know the devil's going to try to come for me. I rebuke him in the name of Jesus. I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. Like I was praying over and I'm like, I just know that something's coming, but God, let it not be something so big. Let it just be little things that we can just work through so we could just continue this momentum. And I believe that this was like the little things that it ended up being because I like prayed and covered over our day and over my life. But so I'm making a long story longer, but basically my point of this story was that one second. Okay, Noli's turn. You win though. You win. I can't turn you away. I cannot turn you away. So, the moral of the story is that it went from us both having our own reasons of why the situation suited ourselves, and then I was like, okay, fine. So I'll take. I was like, you take them, I'll stay here. So I didn't change though because I was rushing. I was trying to hurry up and get the girls ready for school, make them breakfast. And then in the midst of going back to my morning routine, I forgot all about the fact that he was going to be the one taking them. So I told my oldest, I'm like, hurry up, go grab the brush, let me do your hair so we can get in the car and go. I'm going to go change. And when I get down here, we need to go. And then I was like, oh shoot, I forgot Jason was taking them. I don't need to worry about that because I have a little bit of time before the workers get here. So I go into where he's at and he was like still focused on whatever he was working on. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's not taking them. And I go, ugh. And I was like, you, oh, did you want to take them? I forgot. I like got back in my groove and I was getting ready to take them, but do you want to take them or do you want me to just go? Because I'm already mentally prepared. You don't look like you're ready. And he was just like, and he like went off. So it was just like, I'm giving you guys this example. And like I said, I made a long story longer because it wasn't even that necessary. But the point of it was like, there's no reason for us to be even arguing over that. And it ruined the first half of our day. Like, luckily we have grown into being able to get over those things. And I had to like, instead of being like, well, he got popped off on me for no reason when I was trying to suit him from the beginning of the conversation, I didn't get his attitude and throw it back at him like I used to. I just was like, sorry that I forgot and I apologize for getting, because he popped up because I kind of had a little attitude by his reaction. So I was like, sorry that I forgot and I did it and I apologize and I laid my ego aside and I put the apology. So the overall point of all of that was when you're in an argument, when you're facing the argument, number one, remember it's you and your significant other against the enemy who's trying to break you apart, not you guys against each other. And then channel that argument energy against the enemy and do whatever you can in your power to kill your ego. Because when you can kill your ego and you can really be like, what's in the best interest of my significant other, what's going to make them happy, it forces you to stop thinking in your egoistic, what suits me, what's about me, because that's normal for human nature. And it forces you to look outward to the other person. So I'm going to just leave that right there. I wanted to try to keep these short and sweet. We have so many questions submitted, but I've kind of bulked them and covered them like in like broad like segments. So I wanted to just take a week to just like answer more specific questions if anybody has one, or like, why are you still showing up to this call? Why are you still on the live? What is it that you're struggling with most? If you're wanting to share, if you're brave enough to open up and ask a question, and if not, then we can just end it there and we'll just save more for next week. But I have some comments here I'm going to check, but let me know, type your questions if you have some, or come off of mute. And let me see, I totally forgot to put it on my calendar. Oh yeah, if you want to remember, we're going live every Monday at 5 on Zoom. So we're on Zoom, but we're also on the Instagram, on the Wife Complex Instagram. So does anybody have a question? Okay, someone came off of mute. Go ahead.
Hi, Crystal, it's Carmen.
Hi.
I for some reason my video's not working, but I can see you, so that's all that matters. So the reason why I am joining this call, and this is actually my first time, I think this is like your second or third one, right? So I'm so sad that I missed the last ones, but I'm happy I joined today. And I think I was meant to join today because just yesterday I had an argument with my husband after like 2 months of not fighting. And so yesterday we were like both arguing with each other, and we knew that there was no problem, but we just had an attitude. And so I remembered right away, all right, like, and it's funny that you say that, like the enemy is the problem, not necessarily you and your partner, right? So I kept saying that to myself, begging, like, please just don't let me lose it on him, because I know there's no problem. I'm just trying to like be cool with him, and he's just arguing with me for no reason. And so at the end, he knows a way to like get me back to like be happy, I guess. And he I like accidentally tripped him, and he's like, oh, I accept your apology. I'm like, well, I accept your apology for everything. And I go, I did not apologize for anything that I did. So he like, those kind of things, like what he does, even though it's like still like he should apologize for being the way he was. I liked how he was able to come back and like find the peace in the moment. So like, it's funny. It's like, it's exactly what you say. Like, you got to remember that the problem is not you guys. Like, there's something else. So after that, we were like, why do we fight?
It's like so little and minute compared. And I feel like what that reminds me of, you bringing that up, is one of the things that I did, and I still do, but I actually need to go back to doing it more actively. Because I was in this stage with my relationship where it was just like my husband was like through with me. Like, you are just nagging about everything, like everything's triggering you, blah, blah, blah. And what I started doing was, I heard this on some type of YouTube, like pastors preaching thing. And actually I see Erica's on, I think you sent this to me. But she was saying, if you could think that most of the time, like 9 out of 10 times, people don't mean ill intent towards you. So when something triggers you, and I'm making this my own words based on like a book that I'm reading right now, but like, okay, so I'm going to pause there and I'll go back to what this woman said. But like this book that I'm reading, the Conscious Parent, she talks about how anytime you're emotionally triggered, you need to not look at who's triggering you, but what's within that's being triggered, because it's 10 out of 10 times, the trigger is you. It's something going on inside of you. And so putting that back to what this pastor's wife said, she was saying, like, when she shifted her mindset to think, my husband is not doing anything out of ill intent on purpose. So she gave an example of, like, I think something like, let's say like your husband is out, or your significant other is out late for like really late, and you don't hear from them. Like, the Crystal is quick to be like, oh no, he's tripping. What the hell is he doing? Let me go start checking on his this, and let me go logging into that and doing da. And giving him not any benefit of the doubt, going straight to the negative. But she's like, why don't you just assume their phone died, they don't have access to a charger, something really big and good is happening at work, and they're just sucked into it, so they can't find a way out to get a hold of you to let you know that they're running late. Like, why do we go straight to the worst case scenario? And when I started shifting that, it literally changed our relationship, like literally. And so to pair that, what I started doing was in my notes, and I challenge you guys to try this if you're like that right now in your relationship. Like, in my notes now, what I do is, if something triggers me in the moment, instead of lashing out, because I'm that type that I can't hold my tongue. Like, if I'm mad right now, you're going to hear about it. We can't move on. We can't go to the next thing. Like, we're going to talk about this right now. And so what I started doing was writing it. I have a note section that, like, I forget what it's titled. I can't pull it up on my phone, but literally it's like a running log of things that he's done that triggered me. So he may say something, he may look at me a certain way, he may whatever it is, he may do something, he may not do something, and I write it down. And then what I do is, at the end of the day, I reflect on it if I'm still even thinking about it. So just writing it down, and this is why I'm such a huge believer in journaling too, because you can get rid of so much emotion by just getting rid of it without getting rid of it at the person who triggered you. And so what I started noticing was, by the end of the day, I already got it out on my phone, that I didn't even need to get it out on him. And when I got to the point where I reflected to see if it was something I needed to bring up to him, it wasn't even something that was worth bringing up, and we were already on to the next situation. And so I just let it go. And then what happens, because you have it as a log, now you're able to basically start seeing if there's things that are patterns that need to be addressed. Because again, if your significant other is not meaning ill intent, it's usually just misunderstanding. It's usually like he, you know, like this morning, the argument that we had, like, had we just addressed it differently or explained why we were saying the things we were saying or thinking the way we were thinking, like, we might have been able to see like where things could have been changed. But instead of lashing out, we could have just wrote it down and then been like, okay, this isn't even that important. Or, you know, I'm noticing over time, he's late a lot when he tells me he's going to be home at a certain time and he's not. Or he talks to me this way every time this happens. I don't like that. Or whatever the pattern is that you're seeing, then it might be something that needs to be addressed. But now you can address it from a state of like even kill versus like overkill and like ready to kill somebody. So that has been a huge help to me also. So thank you, Carmen, for sharing that. And it's cool that you're on, because I need to text you. I want to text you a picture and get your approval, because I'm going to add it to my website. So
Oh, for sure.
to hear your voice. And thank you for sharing. And just by the way, this is one of the reasons why I have people opt into the email, because then I'll send you the recording from like the previous weeks plus this week. So you'll get it. You'll have it. You're on my list. So you'll get it if you want to watch back. But I believe we hear what we need to hear when we need to hear it. So anybody else before we log off? I don't see any more questions here. Okay, so I'll give like a couple seconds if anybody else wants to unmute. But otherwise, we will be back here on Monday. We're right at the good time, because I wanted to keep these right at 30 minutes or under. And we will go from there and address some more of your guys' questions. So I hope this was helpful for you guys, and thank you for tuning in. And if you have anybody who you feel like could benefit from these conversations, send them the link so that they can get on the list to get like the recordings and get the information to join live. And I am excited. I don't have the date. It's not next Thursday, but the Thursday after. I'm going to do, not Thursday, sorry, Monday. In place of this call, I'm going to do, yes. Ooh, jump rope. That's cool. Not in place of this call, but the topic of that call, I'm going to show you guys how to do like a couple's vision board. So like, you don't have to have your significant other with you on it if you don't want to, or you can, but I'm going to just show a couple of like tips of how we've built vision boards together to help like set like goals for our relationship and like see more eye to eye with things. And like, it really has helped and made a huge difference. So I'm excited to share with that one with you guys. So like I said, it's not next Monday, but the Monday after. Yeah, Mama said I'm saying bye to everyone right now. So it's the Monday. It'll be same time, same place. I just wanted to like let you guys know that I'm going to be doing that. So I'm excited. So tomorrow, if you guys are interested, I'm doing a live at 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on the 7 steps. I always get asked like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I'm always like, how do I do what? I'm a mess constantly. But I do. I have a good life. I have a thriving relationship. I have good kids. I have, businesses that I love and good people around me. And I feel like a lot of people are in this state where they just feel completely overwhelmed, and they're just like, I don't know what to do with my life. And I don't know, like, I feel like the days just cave in on me and I can't catch a break, and I'm always overwhelmed and, have so much anxiety and, so much stress and just all these different things. And so I've been unpacking for the last like 6 months or so. My mentor told me, she's like, what you think comes just naturally and easy for you is not always, that's usually your gift. And I'm realizing part of my gift is why I created this community and why I started Wife Complex. So I realized that the things that make my day-to-day work are not always just things that everybody's doing on a daily basis. So I've been literally like in my days being like, oh, that's like how I handle that, or that's a tool that I use to get out of that situation, or this is how I whatever. And so I kind of backtracked and created like a formula so that it's easy to like follow. And I'm going to share the 7 things I believe that everybody should be implementing every single day to have a life that you love and that feels fulfilling and that doesn't feel so overwhelmed. And those who really know me know that I was the queen of being busy and just overloaded on my calendar. And I've also been guilty of having times where I had nothing to do and no purpose and no direction, and I was just sitting there chilling, watching every reality show that came across the TV and everything in between. And so when I started implementing these 7 things is when I felt like my life has been on the up and up. And no life is perfect. Like I'm not selling perfection. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I believe there's ways to alleviate some of that overwhelm and feel like you have more control. So that is what I'm sharing tomorrow. I've never shared it before. I'm super excited. I've been preparing my notes and I'm going to keep it short, but I'm very excited to share it. So I do have an opt-in for that because, again, I send out the code for where to go log on, and I send out reminders and like recordings for people who are like, I'm at work at that time or I can't do it or whatever. So please opt in. The link is all over. I've been posting about it all week. It's on my most recent post on my Instagram. It's in the link in both of my bios on Instagram. It's on the Facebook group. So find the link, get the link, opt in, and come tomorrow or watch the recording. I'd love to hear if it's helpful for you. Like one of the things that I talked to Carmen about, it was just like she's taken one of my courses, and I want to share one of her testimonies that she's shared. And so I would love for you guys to share testimonies like, I implemented one of the 7 things and this is how my life has changed. So I would love for you guys to be to hear it when you can and just implement it. Challenge yourself to implement something from it and share with me how it's working. I want to see if it's reaping results. Because if not, then I got to tweak it to really unpack how I can help other women feel like they have it all. So I'll be working at the time Eastern, but I'd love to know how you're present for like kids, minds, kids. Yes. Okay. So if you're working, again, you won't get it live, but you'll get the recording as soon as we're done with it. But you have to be on the list because that's how I send it out. There's no way I could ever have time to make sure that I'm individually DMing and texting everybody and emailing everybody the recording when they want it. So when you're on that list, it sends you right to like one list, and I can send all to get you the recording or the reminder or whatever. So opt in anyways, Tara. And then you'll get the recording so that you can watch it. So thank you guys for being here. Now we went a little bit over, but I'm so grateful for you guys, and I will talk to you soon.